So that gets us into this discovery that we made in working with call center agents, is that there's a learning model that they go through which is different to the one that we've been using when we do skills development. So when people work in call centers or any customer experience space, what we've discovered is that they work very similarly to sports people. When you're a sports person, when you're a soccer player, rugby player, cricketer, basketball player, name the game, one of the things that's common to all sports like that is that the players play in something called compressed time. They don't have long time to think about what they're going to do. They've got 1 second, maybe half a second to decide, do I go left, do I go right? Do I kick the ball, do I put it on the ground? You know, those kinds of things. The thinking process that you require to make decisions in 1 second are very different from the ones that require an hour. So because, and this is just my judgment actually, I can't back this up with research, but I think my judgment is that because we're all a bunch of professionals here, and we've got lots of university degrees here probably, I'm sure, you know, there's at least half this room has got some tertiary qualification, we've all got a high school qualification, and we're used to learning and teaching in a particular way that kind of works for us. So we think, well, let's pass it on to these guys. And it doesn't work, because in our environment, I know certainly from a game on perspective, I don't have to make any decision in under 1 second, or 5 seconds, or 5 hours, or even 5 days half the time. I've got tons of time to think about complexity and how I'm going to react to stuff. And so we teach the guys using classroom type techniques with workbooks and all this kind of stuff that so tell me if I'm talking crap here, but I don't know, we do quite a lot of that. We teach them in classrooms, workbooks, and that's great if you're teaching people about complex stuff, but the game that these guys play isn't complex, but it is fast. There's lots of stuff going on. So we've understood that the learning process that a sports person goes through looks like this. First, and the easiest way to understand this model is think about when you learn to drive a car. So the very first time you got in the car, the first thing you did was you started grappling with, okay, so 3 pedals under here, which one does what? What, you know, the gear lever, there's first, second, third, fourth, and then these indicators and a whole bunch of stuff. And can you remember how absorbed you were in the process of just trying to drive the car, just trying to operate the machinery? And do you remember, I don't know how many of you have taught somebody to drive, but you notice how little the learner driver on their first or second drive actually sees about what's going on in the rest of the road. And the reason is because they're just completely absorbed in trying to operate the machinery, because it's unfamiliar to them. So they're busy grappling. And what we've got is this continuum that works from a focus on the process all the way to a focus on the customer. So in the learner-driver thing, the focus over here is about operating the machinery, and the focus over there is where do you want to go. So, you know, it's just grooving stuff into the player's subconscious, and we keep a track of the practice process, so we check if things are actually working. So that's the basic idea, is a system that actually tells you whether coaching's happening or not, whether it's working, what you're working on,